Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's webinar. Thank you for taking the time to join us today. We're going to get started in just a few seconds, but we'll let people continue to join and get settled. But in the meantime, let's jump in the chat and just share where you're tuning in from. Right now, I am in Las Vegas, where it actually has been gloomy for the past couple days now, pouring rain, all the fun stuff that you don't expect when you're in Vegas. But a quick reminder as we get going, when you do send a message in the chat, make sure it's set to everybody and not just panelists only. That way the full group can follow along. And then, of course, if you have any questions that come up during the session, please add them to the Q&A feature so that we can go through them at the end of the webinar. Before we dive in, I'd like to quickly introduce myself. I'm Sydney. I'm a marketing manager here at Offstreet. I've been with the team for a little over 3.5 years, and much of that time has been spent working pretty closely with private operators. So it's nice to see a couple familiar names in the attendee list, and in the chat, it looks like too. Over the next 30 minutes, we're going to explore closely how parking operators are simplifying hotel and event parking and the different ways Offstreet's flexible tools can be used for these different needs. We'll walk through how hotels manage guest, employee, and restaurant parking all in one place, and of course, how you can layer events into that and use the simple registration links to create a smooth arrival experience for every attendee. You'll also hear real world insights from our special guest who we'll have joining right away on the challenges that they've faced and how he streamed his parking operations all without paper passes, manual tracking, or adding friction for himself or the team. Our goal is that you walk away with practical takeaways, not just ideas, but things that you can apply right away. But with that, I'm thrilled to introduce today's speakers. Dani, she works closely with operators every day, and our special guest, Mark, who will be sharing his real world experience. Thank you guys for joining us today. Dani works closely with operators across a wide range of locations and brings a wealth of hands-on experience. She's here today to show you some solutions to make your hotel and event parking operations run even smoother. And of course, there is Mark, our very special guest. Mark leads parking operations for Precise ParkLink West in downtown Edmonton. He's recognized for his practical, hands-on leadership and his ability to keep complex, fast-moving operations running smoothly for staff, partners, and the community they serve. Let's give them a virtual round of applause. Mark, I'd love to start off with asking you a few questions. From your perspective, what are some of the biggest challenges operators face with hotel or event parking?
I think probably if there's a lot of operators in here, the most challenging thing is getting guests and parkers to follow instructions, I think. But jokes aside, I think for us, the biggest challenge is actually just organizing the multiple parties involved, whether it be us operators, the tenants of, say, downtown Edmonton, their guests, and just other various stakeholders in the industry. The back and forth is definitely the most challenging part of it for sure.
Absolutely. That's a lot to juggle and makes complete sense. I have another question for you. What parking challenges are you coming across that might lead you to bring in Offstreet as a solution?
Yeah, so I mean, we use as a parking operator, we use Offstreet and have used Offstreet for quite some time for a variety of solutions. So it's not specifically one, challenge that we're using it for. Across multiple sites, there is a diversity of challenges as we described, and I think probably the most leading reason why we offer Offstreet in the for all of our I guess clients is that it has so many tailored solutions for so many complex requests from our clients. It's not just one, but the ability to, have the option.
Perfect. Thank you for sharing that. So I guess with that, we'll kind of run into how is Offstreet currently being used at your hotel and event locations?
Yeah, good question. So we have a lot of tenants in the Ice District. So for those who don't know, Ice District in Edmonton, Alberta, we operate with the Oilers Edmonton Entertainment Group, as well as all the partners in downtown Edmonton there. Specifically for the hotel, the JW Marriott hosts oh boy, a variety of events. Everything from weddings, graduations, seminars, holiday parties, fundraisers, corporate conferences, and events that the Oilers put on themselves as well. So, and it's not just one parking lot, it's multiple parking lots that we offer services to. So, yeah, it comes up quite a bit. Whether it's probably either daily or weekly events that we're putting on for one of the varying tenants in the ice district. And yeah, it's there's tons. I know I saw Tanya was joining on this call as well, and she's an administrator here. Um, and yeah, it's constant for sure. Whether that being a guest is paying for the parking, whether the host is paying for the parking, whether they need specific codes or VIPs or everything. It all kind of comes through and filters through us, and then we need to make those tailored solutions for them.
Perfect. Yeah. So my mind kind of went off when you said Oilers, and all I'm thinking is, maybe Connor McDavid is using Offstreet to park, but I guess we'll never know. So with
He's a little
that,
more special than that. He's a little more
he's a
special than
little
that.
bit more special.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair. Maybe his family members. But
Yeah.
using that for those special groups, what aspects have really worked well for your team, your event organizers and your guests?
Yeah. You know what? And I'll be super frank. A couple of months ago, it was quite difficult to administer, I guess, events that had, so many multiple, prices and lots and dates and everything like that. It was really difficult to send out a really nice condensed, hey, this is where you go to register for parking, whether it's, for this day or this rate or that rate. So the latest actually update from Offstreet really, really streamlined that for our team here. Um, you know, we had we had the ability to have those multiple dates, those multiple rates, guests being able to select, different days that they were attending, a conference, for example. Whereas in the past, we had to send them, a specific link for a specific day for and a specific QR code, and it became very cumbersome, right? So, with the latest update, I know I'll refer back to Tanya again, who's on the call. She's able now to send one link, one QR code, and then it gives them the option, right? So that was a really good solution for us in recent times, anyway.
No, I love to hear that. And with that, you mentioned managing, different days and rates. So I assume that's something you'd also want some reporting on. So my next question for you is, how do you currently manage reporting across your various hotel groups and events?
Yeah. So with that, yeah. So if we have, for example, a host who's going to be paying for parking at the JW Marriott, say a conference or a wedding or whatever that may look like, we can easily just run a report, customize it to what we're looking for whether it be rates or invoice total or duration of stay or who it was in some cases. We can create that report right on Offstreet and export it, send it over to accounting to generate the invoice and send that out. Um, at the same time, we do a lot of validations for the various tenants in the ice district in general. So whether that be residents or complimentary parking, or we even have restaurant parking and things like that, we're able to just export that, save those reports within Offstreet, and then ship it out. As well, we've created for the JW Marriott a daily scheduled report or subscription, I guess you would say, so that they can be in tune and in touch with what is being registered for their hotel, right? So the managers can see and to verify, what they're paying for parking, making sure that gets on their bill. And it was very simple for us to set up for them, including various emails on that subscribe report, and yeah, they love it. So
Perfect. Yeah, it's clear you have, a great background working with hotel and event parking operations. So I have one more question before we
Mhm.
kind of shoot things over to Danny. Do you have any advice for some of the parking operators here that are exploring digital solutions for their hotel or event parking?
Yeah, for sure. So as a parking operator, we obviously work with a ton of different platforms, Offstreet being one of them. Um, and I think probably the most key difference that we look for is having those abilities to have tailored solutions, right? Oftentimes, working in different platforms, you get really kind of rigid, um, rigid abilities to create, say, registration types or events or things like that, and you end up kind of gaming the platform to work for you. Whereas, in Offstreet, for example, you have a lot of great customer feedback. You guys listen and then implement things, right? So having not so much purchasing like, say, a service, but having a partner is super important for us. And I think that Offstreet in general has been a great partner. So very, very key for us.
Thank you for those kind words and for, of course, answering all of my hard-hitting questions. I'm going to give you a short little break so you can catch your breath and get a drink. And I'm going to bring Danny over to the big screen. Danny, can you walk us through what Offstreet solutions actually look like for the use cases we've kind of discussed with Mark and how they would work at those types of locations?
Most definitely said. Number one, thanks, Mark, for making my life in this webinar so easy. I'm really here to show off the different use cases that he's been chatting about that he utilizes in real life, everyday scenarios. Um, those who work with me know that I am a bit of a yapper, and I've been given only 10 minutes to get through all four of these demos. So bear with me. We're going to hop right into it. The four demos that we're going to be covering today. First off, we will do how a guest of a hotel will be validated or registered on Offstreet. Then we will go over employees of the hotel having permits on Offstreet. Then we'll head over to the restaurant of the hotel and how any guest there can create a registration. And then lastly, we will be diving into that event solution. So let me share my screen with you here. You should now be able to see my Google with my pink background on it here. Just so I can set the scene for you a little bit here. We are currently looking at a user account that has very minimal permissions on it. This is essentially the permissions that a front desk employee of the hotel would have. So the scenario that this typically works in is the parker parks in the lot and they come to the front desk and they're obviously checking in for their stay at the hotel. The front desk employee would ask if they are parking with them today, and if they are, that's when they would pull up the Offstreet dashboard here. So as soon as they log into their Offstreet dashboard, they will be brought to this page here. So navigates right to the page for them, minimal clicks when in their busy day, we know that they don't need to be clicking around on their computers too much to get to the right zone. So we will have their location, tenant, and registration settings automatically set for them. The main thing that they will need to gather from the Parker is obviously their license plate number. So we'll enter in their license plate number and then state and province as well. Then we have our expiry date and time set here. This one I do have that it's set for an immediate start time. So as soon as we click create here, their plate is going to be valid for enforcement. And then the front desk employee just has to select the expiry date. So let's say they are checking out on Saturday. I have it set to automatically expire at 4 p.m. here. Depending on your hotel, we can obviously make adjustments for this for whatever is going to work best for their scenario. And then we have additional information here as well. For hotels, we most typically see like a room number or guest last name being asked. Makes it really easy to find the registration afterwards. I know I'm terrible for remembering my license plate, so it's way easier for me to like give out my room number or my last name because I will not be remembering my license plate. That's not my responsibility. That's what I have a camera on my phone for. So let's go ahead and enter in my room number and last name here. And then we would just select create. Top left-hand corner, we're going to have confirmation that that session has been created. And if you click on into it, you will get all of the additional information. So you'll be able to see who that session was actually created by. You'll see an invoice total here as well. I did add on a bill back rate in the dashboard of $25 a night, so we can add that in so it's easier for billing at the end of the month. That's such a busy time. So small little things like that to make your life easier during those times. So that is really how the guest would be registered on Offstreet. They would be good to go and on their way from there. I am going to quickly pop over now into employee permits. If you guys have any questions about the demos as I'm going through it, feel free to pop it in the chat. We'll be keeping track of them and we'll be able to answer them all at the end. But for employee permits, this could either be a completely separate user account that only managers have access to, or it could be on the same account as the front desk staff have access to. But essentially, it will be this permit types area here. And here is where you'll be able to hold all of your employee permits. So the great thing about Offstreet permits is that these can actually be managed in-house by the hotel themselves. One less thing to be on the operator's plate. So they would have this user account access and log in, and they would be able to create permits by clicking, obviously, this green create button here. Start time, we have an immediate start time. You can also adjust this to start in the future if you'd need to do so. You can leave this expiry time just open-ended, so it's a long-term permit that does not have an expiry date. If you'd like to add on an expiry date, there's the area to do it in there. All that they would need to do, once again, is entering in a license plate number here. Our tenant is obviously selected as our hotel employees. And then you'll see we have a note section and an additional information section. Same thing with additional information with the guest area. We can fully customize this for what you're looking for. But I'm going to go ahead and just add in a name here again. And we'll select create, and then you'll be able to make a full list here. We do also have this create multiple option. So if they have a bunch of employees, which I'm sure that they all do, you can actually just copy and paste over the license plate numbers. I'm sure there's already a spreadsheet happening of it somewhere, so feel free to copy and paste it over here and do a bulk upload. Now, that is for hotel employees and guests. Now I'm going to slide on over to our restaurant parking. Sid, do you mind giving me a thumbs up if you can see my portal here now? Perfect. So switch and pace a little bit. We have restaurant guests coming to park with you tonight. This one here, I have an example of a cactus club. I don't know if there are cactus clubs in hotels, but they do have my favorite crunch roll, so I went with them. This one, we can have QR codes either posted right when they would be walking into the restaurant area. We've also seen them being right at the tables when the guests sit down. They can quickly create a registration. You can also have tablets at the front desk. You can always chat with your account manager about what they think the best scenario would be for the specific restaurant that you are dealing with. But this one here is a very straightforward, let's say they scan the QR code, they're now on this portal here. We would enter in they would enter their license plates here, sorry. Select state or province again and select next. Now this one I have built out a little bit more. We have a 2-hour validated parking. This option could be used once per day, so we can set those rules on the dashboard. So they would be able to have their 2-hour validated parking. Come on in, and I would select park. And here's where we can actually enter in our phone number for a text message expiry notification. In that text message, we could say something along the lines of, hey, your parking is about to expire. Feel free to click here to purchase additional parking. And then that's where you saw that paid parking option. They could purchase additional time if they do need longer than the 2 hours or like the validated time that is being provided. We do have that in email form as well here. But I've seen a few inboxes of the people on our team, and I know that an email is not being found, so text message is always a great option for those people. I'm going to go ahead and click done. That's a very high level version. We can obviously get a lot more into like the nitty-gritty details there. But I am going to hop over into our event feature here. This is kind of the one that Mark was referring to quite a bit as he was chatting. Uh, Particularly multi-day events is one that the team has been working really hard on perfecting. And a lot of features have been released amongst that over the last few months. So when we refer to multi-day events, this can look a few different ways. Number one, we can have an event that lasts 3 days long, and the parker is going to be on site for all 3 of those days, so their license plate should be valid for all 3 of those days. Then we also have situations where it could be a 3 day event, but the parker is only going to be on site for one of those days. We might not know what day that they're coming on site, but we would like them to decide. That's the scenario that we're going to run through today. So we are going to do a holiday festival to really get in the spirit of things. I know Mark was giving me a hard time for setting up my Christmas tree so early, but me and Sid are both ready to get in the Christmas spirit. So we would enter in our event name on the dashboard here. That's what's going to display on the portal to the parker. Then we have our host, organization, and group. This is all for our internal and reporting use only. Again, go ahead and select continue. On this area is where we are going to select our parking dates, times, where they're valid to park. So I will come in here and I am going to add in a date. Let's say it's happening this weekend, Friday. Probably is not going to happen until after work and we'll go till 10 p.m. You'll see this restrict registration availability option here. This is a new feature that we've released. Essentially, what this will do, if it's toggled on, this will restrict this parking option to only show during the time where they would actually be valid to park. So this option would only display in the portal tomorrow between 5 p.m. and 10 p.m. So if there's multiple days, for example, a sporting event is one where this comes up a lot. If you want to enter in every day of the sporting event, you can restrict it. So if a QR code scanned, only the one option is showing there. I'm going to turn this off for now and keep on going because I am taking up a lot of time. I'm going to add in, we'll just do 2 days for this example, and we'll go ahead and do this one for Saturday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Sounds great. We can actually name them in here as well so that the parker knows which day that they're actually registering for. So we have our name, our label for it, the dates and times, and now we're going to add in the location that they are valid to park in. So they'll be valid, let's say, at the Offstreet Hotel location. And then last thing to fill out here is pricing. So this is either a bill back rate to the host if they're looking to cover that, or we can also turn on payments so that the end parker is the one paying for their session, totally depending on what event you're hosting and what the host would like to do. Now moving on here to a few rules, we can set the max number of vehicles. So this can be per day or for the entire event. And then a new rule that we have here as well is a max plates per permit. So you can actually allow the parker to have multiple plates on one permit. Let's say if they are potentially bringing in a second vehicle on day 2 of the event, that's when this option could come in here. You can go ahead and select continue. This is our wayfinding or directions page here. This comes into play a lot when the guest is pre-registering for the event. They would receive a know before you go email 24 hours before that event actually starts. And in that, we would include this note, this wayfinding information. So we can provide directions to the location as well as the event venue here. So I'm going to go ahead and select both the location, which shows up in green, as well as the blue event venue here. So once they actually park in the lot, they know exactly how to get over to the venue. Last page, guys, I promise. Here are all of our rules that we can associate with it. So if you're familiar with Offstreet, a lot of these are very familiar to you, like additional information. We showed those off on the last few. We can require a code for extra layers of security. We can add in branding here as well. I do have a logo to add on. So we can show you guys how that would display on the portal. We can add in special instructions if the guest does need to know anything additional about the event, have those SMS expiry notifications turned on. And then the few that I did just want to make note of here as well is that with the event tool, you can actually make it so that the Parker email is required. So they are receiving all of that information beforehand. And then we can also make it so that they can edit or delete their plate as well after the registration is created. And then we have an enabling automatic reporting. So you don't have to worry about pulling the reports yourself. As soon as that report finishes, you will receive the report in your inbox right afterwards. So I'm going to go ahead and create the event. And this is our sharing tool. So if you would like to share all this information with the event host right from the Offstreet dashboard, you can do so right here. All of the information can be entered in here. We do have a free pre-populated templates for you here. Here's an example of what that would look like to send the email right from the dashboard. But for the sake of time, I'm going to hop right into what the portal would actually look like. Here's where we can select which day that we're going to be attending. So let's say I'm coming in on the Saturday. Here are my directions right to the parking lot there. I'm going to enter in my license plate number, and I won't enter in a text message or an email reminder. And I'm just going to go ahead and click park. And here's where I will be confirmed that I'm all good to go. I can cancel or change my permit from there. But you guys have heard from me for a good 10-15 minutes there, so I'm going to pass it back off to Sid.
Thank you so much for that, Dani. The solutions definitely look simple, flexible, and very customizable all across the different use cases. And we appreciate you taking all that time to walk through that. I do know there was a lot there, so if anybody does have any questions, feel free to pop them in the Q&A and we will get to them right away. Now, back to Mark for a couple final questions. Mark, what kind of impact have you seen since implementing Offshoot across your sites?
Yeah, it's been a game changer for just from a standpoint of helping our tenants achieve what they're looking for, right? So just with all the tools available, I know Danny went through quite a few there, and there's still even more to that, right? That we didn't even touch on. So yeah, once you're able to kind of show that to a tenant or a client or a hotel, they're just like, oh, okay. This is a no-brainer, right, for us with all with the ability to be able to customize it so closely. So, yeah, and I think that just with Offstreet in general, and like I said, with the feedback and being able to customize things and having you guys able to help us when we do enter into a complex situation, and it's easy to sell, that's for sure.
Thank you. Okay, one final question for you here today before I throw a bunch of Q&A questions at you. So not really the final question, but for me, what has been the most challenging event for you to set up or manage?
Yeah. Well, maybe not so much me, but I'll go back to Tanya there. But I know we've had a few, I guess, guests of hotels that have been very particular about specific things. For their say conference, for example, and we've had to gone back. We had to go back 10 to 15 different times, and 20 different emails about, oh, would you want to change that a little bit, or let's have the logo look like this, or oh, we'd like to add the sponsor name into the event name, and or day one sponsored by such and so, and blah blah blah. I mean, the great part of it is that we're able to do it right away for them, right? It's not like we had to go back like, hey, that's kind of a limitation of what we can do. It's been like, oh, okay, yeah, you want to do that? Sure. And then add it on. But yeah, there's no 2 days the same or two events the same. So yeah, I don't want to even say they're challenging to set up or manage. It's really just like I said, referring back to the very first question you had, it's the back and forth between the clients and the tenants and everyone.
Yeah, that makes sense. It does honestly sound like there are still a lot of moving parts with events. So we appreciate
Mhm.
you sharing all of your background on that. And I do want to say a huge thank you for you joining us today and tackling all of my tough questions. And of course, thank you to Dani for walking us through all the different ways Offstreet supports hotel and event parking locations. I think I can speak for everyone when I say it's actually valuable to see the product in action, and it allows you to, think a little bit more about your operations. Okay. So, our first question we have is from John, and I'll probably throw this one over to you, Dani. Can you do same day scheduled reports?
So on the event tool itself, I think as I was walking through it, you probably saw that automatic reporting. With that, as soon as the event's over, you would receive the report. And then in terms of if you're looking for like regular permitting or registration daily reports, we would send over a daily report that would show up in your inbox at 6 a.m. the day after. So next day you would have that whole list.
Perfect. Okay. The next question is, can guests register themselves instead of going through the front desk? I can either throw this to Mark or Dani, whoever kind of wants to take that one. And Mark, if you're
Uh,
using it.
Yeah, so we do that with JW Marriott. So whether it be an event or for just self parking for hotel guests as well, yeah, they can definitely do it themselves. It's all how you set it up and making sure obviously they pay for parking if it is paid parking. Very simple though, very simple to do. And having the reminders built in there as well is super important and gets used quite frequently as well.
Perfect. Okay, the next question is just asking, what happens if a guest extends their stay or checks out early? How do you guys handle that?
Oh, good question. Extending stay. So yeah, I mean, with the ability to register themselves, like for an event, we can add those options in there, kind of like Dani had shown in that demonstration. She had, purchase additional parking. I know that's a use case for a restaurant, but that same functionality can be built into hotels as well. And then obviously for the Marriott, for example, the front house managers are able to, or the concierge even are able to extend those times. Once again, all kind of built into what you set up, right? So if we want that option available, we can easily do that, no problem.
Perfect. Thank you for answering that. Next question, I'm not sure if we touched on this, but do attendees need to download an app for an event that they're coming to?
I can answer that again. Actually, part of one of the greatest reasons, we like Offstreet is that you don't have to download an app. I hate downloading apps, and there's way too many, and everyone hates them. But it's a web link. It's a mobile platform, right? So whether they scan the QR code or just use the link directly, it just opens up in their browser, and they're able to do it right then. No, no app, no updates, no nothing. It's great. I hate those things too.
I also do hate downloading an app. I swear I have like a whole folder on my phone of apps that I've used once and will never use again. But another question here, what happens if attendees don't pre-register for the event?
Oh, so this is actually kind of a good question. So, I'll put it in context for us. So we actually have quite a busy parkade. So we actually don't encourage people to pre-register for parking, specifically because things change, first of all. Something could be, a wedding in the summer that I'm planning on going to, but maybe I, don't like them anymore, or I get sick or something like that. Um, Mind you, we can still cancel their parking if need be, or they can request that. That's no problem. But we actually encourage people to park before they actually register for parking, just because we do have, like I said, a very busy parkade, and especially when the Oilers are playing, for example, like it's just. It's a gong show to say the least. So they can register when they secure a parking spot by going to the link. I know that even for the JW Marriott, for example, if they have a busy conference going on, they will actually post the QR code in their lobby, for example, or near their elevator or wherever it is. And it says, if you're joining this event, scan this QR code and register your plate. which works for us because we have from in the enforcement side we have a digital chalk built in, um, meaning that they have 30 minutes to get upstairs, get settled in, register for parking, grab a drink, and relax.
Perfect. Thank you for that. We have a question coming in from William, and I think I'll direct this one to Danny, but I also can kind of touch on it a little bit. So, is Offstreet able to integrate its software with the hotel interface to be able to let guests connect their own overnight self-parking to rooms? Right now, we do have like our open API for integrations, but we don't have any, direct integrations with hotel parking management systems. Um, but we're always willing to have that conversation. So, William, we'd love to hop on a call and kind of ask you a little bit about what you're looking for and see if there's anything we can do to help kind of around that solution. Okay, and one final question that's come in here, and I don't know if any others will pop in, so last call for questions. But how does enforcement verify who's registered?
License plate. In short, um, yeah, I mean, we have built an API through our enforcement. So all of the license plates that get registered for an event or hotel parking or wherever it is, all get passed on through to our enforcement software instantaneously. So as soon as they register, it's live. So they won't get a violation, which parkers do not like, as long as you enter your license plate correctly, just like Danny does every time.
Perfect. Yeah, it honestly, it really is that easy with the registration. They put their license plate in and it shoots over to enforcement if we have that integration set up. So with that, it looks like that's all the questions we have coming in and that all we have time for today. I know we went a little bit over, but we really just did want to show you those demos and share with you the different solutions. And I want to thank you all for joining us today to learn more about these parking solutions for hotel and event locations. And of course, my final thank you to Mark for being a killer guest speaker, answering all our questions and killing the Q&A. And of course, for Dani for doing what she does best, making parking solutions look super simple. I don't know how you do it. But I am going to share my contact information on the screen along with a quick guest parking download for hotels. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out, scan the download, check it out, and look at it. And then we can hop on a call, answer any questions. But for that, everybody can enjoy the rest of their day and have a great weekend. And we will see you at the next webinar. But thank you, Mark and Dani. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you so
Thanks, everyone.
much. We'll see you guys later. Thanks, Mark.